hoping everybody else is ready, but there is no really break in anything, It's either we're aware or not. So that's the game. So I wanted to start this evening. It's morning here. It's actually it works out pretty well. It's about 9 something here, and it's 6:40 there. So all's well. And I wanted to start, this is because I've been away from home for almost, 2.5 months or something. And I've been thinking about, I sit in my house and I look out the window and I watch the deer and the squirrels, and I have a plum tree. And so this is just from the plum tree. I looked out at the plum tree. Life is so fragile and inspiring. Seeing 2 baby fawns planted under the plum tree, waiting patiently for another plum to fall. They come every day hoping for another tart or sweet taste. There are many ways to receive a tart or sweet plum. Some days we get what we want, other days we don't. We moan and we groan, and when it isn't exactly the way we like it. But there we have it, this practice of listening. The capacity to notice there are so many gifts just in our capacity to awaken to the truly small moments, a breath, a sight, a sound, a smell, a sensation, a thought. Everything can be seen as a gift or a catalog of not enoughness. Chasing everything into the future, missing greatness in this small moments. So there you have it. Small moments, is that what it's all about? Somehow that these small moments are the way, it's the only way to awakening. And awakening is not some big deal. It is something that is noticed moment after moment after moment. And as soon as we, grasp at something and say, oh, this isn't enough, then we're caught. We're stuck. So tonight, I want to start one of the talks of the late venerable Thich Nhat Hanh was worry is useless. And I think in some ways that it's indicative that somehow because of the nature of our world is that we kind of see that somehow things aren't enough, and it should be different than it is. But the truth is, it's just the way it is. So let's see if oh, come on. Okay, I'm back here. So worry is useless. Worry does not accomplish anything. The essence lies in understanding that excessive worry about the future doesn't change its course. His guidance to remain rooted in the present without fixating on elusive futures, happiness conditions, echoes the essence of mindfulness. It urges us to embrace the now, finding contentment with it rather than fretting over the uncertainties. So I think that's kind of the fundamentals here is that we have a tendency to, human beings, we manufacture a lot. And yes, there is the truth. And the truth sometimes is not necessarily what's available to us. But what is available to us is the thoughts that we have about it. And so a lot of the times we end up in a world of fantasy. And that fantasy is based on, some past or some future expectations. And neither is correct. The correct version here is that, and this is just from the practice, we have to get that yes, there is a future, and it will happen, and that yes, we have to do things to somewhat influence it. But I was going to say, I won't give a percentage. I was going to say 90% of the time, it's what we make up about it. It's not actually what's so. And so we began this process of connecting with the simplicity of not, manufacturing or excuse the word, exaggerating or minimizing. That also can be what's there, And what's lovely is that this practice is really, it's based on this mindful of the moment. That's really all it is, mindfulness. And that moment of mindfulness, that fullness of the moment, it carries no emotional baggage, So in essence, it is just the bare, they use the language of bare attention. And so this world of bare attention is supportive to really the unconditioned mind, which is really what I'm trying to point at, because the conditioned mind will always be a problem. The unconditioned mind will not be a problem. It's not going to make something up about things. And I'm not trying to say that, you can look at things and say, yes, there is some verifiable truth in what's going on. But, that's what I say, maybe 90% of it is stuff we make up. And 10% is actually what's so. And if we begin to, not, what is it? It's really not manipulate what's there. But it's really why so much of this practice is based on this capacity to listen. And listening is, in some ways, is the heart of this practice. And so why the ideals of silence and quietude are based on the fact that there is this native intelligence that is actually there behind everything else. And that our job is to connect with it. But it takes the silence to actually allow it to come. Otherwise, it's just, this mind chatter comes a lot of times from, especially if there's emotional stress of any kind, for or against something, that in that moment, then we are, in a sense, caught or many times deceiving ourselves. And the ideals here is that that doesn't have to be so, because in the silence, there is intelligence, but there is also non-manufacturing. It is actually touching into the unconditioned mind. And I think, to me, the unconditioned mind, it's the whole story, you know, because again, it's like that poem I read about, that it's just, I spend a lot of time looking out the window, and when I look out the window, I actually just see the squirrels and the deer, and sometimes the plums that were on the tree or whatever. That's all that's there. And it's so satisfying. And yet, at the same time, I have to, wander off to the far ends of the earth. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But I think that, it's been a privilege. I don't walk so well these days as this last year with the cancer. It did kind of knock some of the wind out of my sails, and so I know things are on only a single track here, and I'm going to try to use as much as I can till I can't. And so here I am in Chiang Mai, and I'll be in Bangkok in a few days, and then I go down to Surotani, and then to teach this 10-day, which is absolutely, the place, I looked at the pictures, it's just amazing looking. This Prawan raft house. So, so there's that whole thing around worry that somehow it's not going to work out. The second piece I want to talk about is if we want to be happy, we must see reality for what it is. And, this really goes to Thich Nhat Hanh was about worry, and Pema Chodron about insight into the highlights and significance of challenging fixed beliefs and assumptions. Some notes the choice between accepting fixed realities or embracing on a journey of curiosity and openness. This challenge is us to embrace the fluidity of truths, encouraging a mindset open to evolving perceptions. And I think in some ways, this is the crux of when we kind of get off of the mind train and the emotional, what is it? It's emotional clinging to our likings and dislikings. We go on to our views about things and our opinions. And these views and opinions, you were born, and you are a conditioned creature, and whether it was just your body taught you some certain things, or your parents, your culture, your school, your country, etc. They all were sets of conditions that were handed to you, and you, in necessity, accepted them, and in a sense, they become what you create as a reality. But the problem is that this journey of curiosity and openness is to actually, you could say it's belief buster, you know, because you have to kind of, this is the wonderful thing about Buddhist thought in the sense of experience, is actually break the conditioning that that those early systems, you know, catch you in, you know, and whether it's, you know, whether it's country, religion, um, beliefs, even friends, you know, all that is conditioning, and that the idea here of some sense of openness and curiosity means that, in some sense, it's not that we're going to change them necessarily, but we're going to, you know, it's like taking the emotional, it's kind of like a fishing hook. You got to take the hook out of it, because it can then take and influence you to such a degree that you end up in either fear or want. And the idea here is to, you know, they're natural things. I think fear is natural, want is natural, but to lessen their power is what we can do. We, as a human being, can lessen the power of those things. And as we lessen the power of them, then we have this possibility. If not, then that idea of openness and curiosity kind of dissolves into, if I can use the language, fixed views and opinions and beliefs about things. And so that's the crux of it, you know, because in essence, we're talking about getting to a point where being free is something that we're practicing. Unfortunately, it's not a thing. And so, you know, even though it's talked about as a thing, but it's actually a practice. It's something that we have to keep, in some sense, that curiosity and openness, generating it over and over again, and recognizing that we're programmed due to these beliefs and opinions and views, and that we have the power to not be it's really entranced by them, and have this power and wisdom to kind of bust them and be much more adherent to, you know, it goes back to the mindfulness and the moment, that somehow the moment can be more important than the view or the belief. And so that can lessen the power of the emotions that are created by the fixation and the obsession and the belief system around it, you know. So there is this kind of possibility of living in a kind of very open and loose way that's still, you know, you're still kind of curious of what's going on, and yet the curiosity is not based on any fixed view, but is something that's forever changing. You know, it has no. We're not talking about a home here. We're talking about the truth of impermanent phenomena that rises and falls, which is really the third piece here, because we spend a lot of time, you know, in our doing in the world that then influences how we hold it, how we fixate on it. And it's not really helpful, ultimately, because we end up with these fixed views and beliefs that actually, unfortunately, can be, in a sense, almost a torment, uh, uh, because, this isn't going to work out. I think, I hope you know that. That's one of the things I keep coming up against, is my body kind of what is going through its own degenerative process. It's not going to work out. Okay, so I'm going to do what I can while I can, and then I won't. I'm not sure what I'll do then, but it's just this is the nature of, for me, aging. And I've done pretty good so far. I saw Diane and Randall on, and I appreciate them so much, because they took care of me in one of the worst conditions I can imagine. And but I don't feel influenced by it. It didn't stick to me. Things just came and they went, and I'm so grateful that this practice gave me the fluidity to kind of ride the waves of I have to say, I think of my brain as Swiss cheese now, and or chemo brain is another word for it. And it's okay, it's not, so I forget things sometimes, but I don't forget that the mind is that either imprisons me or frees me. And my conditioning is, I want to be free. And I hope that each of you, can see that that there is freedom, and it's not something that's unattainable. It's something that's attainable. And if it's attainable, then no matter if it's feeling wise, pleasant or unpleasant, freedom is beyond the capacity of those states, So I was thinking here before, I could just talk the whole time, but I think I want to just, if there was a question about, I didn't get very far, but that's okay. I got as far as I got. So if you have questions, you have to raise your hand. If you're in the hall, I think Jen will get a hold of me. And if not, there's a little hand thing that goes up on the screen, supposedly, that then gives me a moment of.
Don, I'm happy to help from the hall.
Please, that would be great.
And I just want to say before we get into it that we'll take turns going back and forth, and it sometimes takes a minute to orient to hands on the screen. And I'm quicker in person, but we'll do our very best to take turns. So from the hall, because I can't see anybody on the screen, let's start and say your name and hold it close.
Hi, John. This is Douglas.
Hi, Doug. How you doing?
So good to see you. You look very healthy and radiant.
Thank you.
Traveling seems to be good for you.
It is. It loosens me up. It's like, I really have respect for these, for the ideals of gypsies, and the teachers that they were never in a fixed place, which was disturbing to the sanghas, but I think so much of Ajahn Mun, who was just he he was in the jungle most of the time, and he didn't, not until he got old, did he actually stay in one place. And in India, the sadhus, they keep moving, simply because it's so easy to get attached, to place or thing or whatever. So traveling actually is very liberating in that way. And I will be sad when I can't do it. So that's all. You had a question? There goes
Yeah,
my
so
brain.
I actually do have a question as well. And it's based on being in the present and not worrying about the future, but also wanting to plan and affect the future in some ways. And I find in my meditation practice, sometimes my planning is creating a sense of stress. I probably in my regular life too, but I notice it specifically in meditation that there's some fine line of planning and getting attached to the plan or executing it or the results of it, that I'd like to get over.
Well,
And I wonder if you've had to address that and have any tricks or guidance for that.
well, first, Douglas, I appreciate your question, because it is a kind of a biggie, in the sense that we all have the nature to, in some ways, as human beings, different than a lot of animals or porpoises or whatever. They can live more in the moment, but we seem to have this propensity to need to plan. And there's nothing wrong. I just see, I have to plan. I'm not very good at it, but it's not the point of being good or bad. It's just that, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't for me. And it's okay. So it's really, can I still live completely free and open in the moment and still plan? But the planning, I guess it's really the art of planning. The art of planning is, I used to say anyway, I needed very little time for planning. What I needed time for was that openness and curiosity of what that plan. If I always, of course, you plan, you want an outcome, and you have to let go of that outcome. That's the thing. And if you can live with letting go of the outcome and still be able to plan, you're doing great, And I get caught, like everybody, but I'm really more into being free than any time in my life, before it was always, if I blew it and then I was disappointed. Now I'm not disappointed and I'm not elated by it either. It's really just, you have to have some direction. And I think sometimes I wish I was just a porpoise and I just swim with the crowd and not worry about it. That would be cool, but that's not human. Human is that we do plan, and if we attach ourselves to the planning, we suffer. And if we don't, we just go about the planning. It works fine.
Well, cheers to freedom.
Yo!
May we enjoy that in our lives in every moment.
Thank you so much. Take care, Douglas.
Is there
Good
a
to see you.
question or a request for conversation from Zoom, Sangha? Virginia, are you raising a hand? Or is that a cat?
Good question.
Jeez. Well, hello to the cat. Anyone else on Zoom? Okay,
Oh, wait, I see Patricia's hand
perfect.
up,
Thanks, everybody.
but
Please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, John. Good to see
hi,
you.
Patricia. It's
Good to see
great
you
to
in
see you.
Thailand. Yes.
I know.
Oh, I know. I feel really happy to see you. And I
Well,
want to,
thank you.
I want to ask you more about worry.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
oh,
Go for it.
I just find that, I still worry a lot. If I'm on my walk in the morning, I start counting money in my head and how that's going to work out. And it's just, I know I can just sort of do that and let it just watch it. And eventually it kind of goes away. But it's just, I listened to an Oprah thing where she interviewed Thich Nhat Hanh, which I thought was like really an interesting thing for her. And he talked about worry as well, he said. And I made it sound so easy, but it's just not easy lately.
Well, first of all, I apologize if it's not a good answer, but worry is something that, as human beings, in a sense, is kind of a natural condition because, in a sense, we want to make things right, in good, and so we have the proper outcome. And the truth is, there already is an outcome. The outcome was already, in a sense, kind of pre-programmed on a certain level, just by asking the question. And if you can relax in the kind of in the meat of it, when that kind of sense of contraction, because it is contraction, because we want to know. And I'm sorry, that's not the kind of knowing I'm talking about. It's that is relative knowing, and I'm sorry, it can never be concretized and made into something. The only thing we can do with it is that note the feeling. Oh, there is that contraction, and forget whatever it is, because it's about the contraction. It's not about what the actual situation is. And the situation, by the way, is probably going to work out. Most of the time it works out. And when it doesn't, it doesn't, you know. But I do believe that if you can kind of catch the emotion and go, oh, wow, look at that. And sometimes it's best to go to the body and feel, where do you feel the contraction? And put your attention there, which may then relieve the excuse my expression, mental gymnastics around what it is. And
well,
then
sometimes it's about, having had cancer too, something happens in the body and my head immediately starts to go to, oh my God, is there something going on? And
well,
I'm
even
pretty much,
that,
yeah, same thing with that.
even that, it's like, oh no, I've been through a couple cancers and they've been disastrous, and and I'm still here, and I really, I have to say, even though this last cancer was pretty devastating on a physical level, I seem to emotionally, because of this practice, I emotionally didn't carry it. So it's really, in some sense, it's behind me because I didn't carry it, but I know many people, they use it as a, as sort of like a flag that identifies who they are and how it is. And I am not for or against that, but boy, that's a lot of suffering, when you carry it. And my idea is don't carry it, don't carry anything. I know that, you have a lot of stuff going on in Maui and stuff, and or Santa Cruz or whatever, but it's always been complicated, and it always, in some senses, will be. So you have to learn to emotionally disentangle yourself from it, because it's not going to bring you peace and ease and a sense of freedom and well-being. And that's my interest: freedom, ease, and well-being. That's really, if you can do that, you can, end up in all sorts. That's one thing I love about traveling, is you never know what's going to happen next. And I just did yesterday. There's this T-shirt. It says 176 turns, and boy, is it! When I went up to Pi almost a month ago, I got really sick. Just from the car going around all the curves, and I didn't coming back. But it's like you just never know. But if I'm going to worry about it, then I probably would have gotten sick. That's kind of, and I think that's the other thing, like cancer thing. I have to go and get another PET scan as soon as I get back to the States. And it's like, well, it actually is what it is. It's not, and, I think I'm fine, but you never know. And I'm grateful that science can give me a yay or nay. But I'm not even worried about if it says nay, well, then I deal with it, right? I mean, it's one of the things here in Thailand that's been going on is I've been around a lot of people. One has had 2 strokes. One had a brain hemorrhage, but had it started with a kidney infection, then it was a heart attack, and then it was a brain hemorrhage, and then the other one doing stem cell therapy for melanoma. I mean, good Lord, I don't remember any of this before. And now it's like, this is called aging, and the consequences of aging. So just be grateful. If today's a good day, be happy.
Today's a good day.
Good, and be happy. Why not? Otherwise, you can worry about it and go, oh God, that thing in my back or the thing in my shoulder, something, and then you go off on it, right? And it's not really necessary. If it is something, this is from my point of view, you'll deal with it when it reaches a certain point that you need to deal with it. And if not, my interest is stay happy while you can. This is all a passing show.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's good to talk to you.
You too, John. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Well,
let's see, where are we? Guess we could do another question.
Anybody here in the hall? Anybody in Zoom, Sangha?
I guess that means we're doing pretty good.
I do think someone just raised a hand. Can you all help me? Oh, yes. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, I don't know if you're talking to me or someone
Yes,
else.
yes, I am, my friend.
Oh, thanks. Oh, it's such a pleasure to hear from you and your strength and your determination. And I noticed myself worrying and get caught up in different things like happening with my health and stuff. And then I stop and say, well, there's nothing I could do about it. I could do what I could do when I take a breath. And like when you're saying going into your body, then I relax more when I do the body scan and I could say, well, this is it. All I could do is what I can do, to just go with it or accept what is. It's the hardest thing I think for me is accepting what is, the acceptance part, how to accept more. Like all you went through is a remarkable sense of courage, but to accept, like you said, the moments are precious, how to accept, what's going on, the change.
Right. Yeah.
So I want to know a bit more about accepting the change.
Acceptance. I think sometimes just, and sounds a little trite, but every time that you notice a breath coming in and then you let go of it and it goes out, there's always a mini letting go there that has to happen. And that is the teacher. It's that mini moment that you let go of the breath. And this is true for all things. And and if we can just take that teaching and begin to recognize it in a kind of wider perspective, and it's really from the mini to the max, or the full Monty, or whatever you want to call it, because ultimately you're going to have to learn this. You're going to have to learn this well, because ultimately we're all going to die, and maybe not in a nice way. And so we have to start practicing letting go long before we're actually faced with it. So, and I must say that illness is a great teacher. It definitely, and this is something that, I think I could have made up a lot of things about it, but it was actually real for what it was. And I'm grateful for it, because again, it helped me learn a little more about letting go. And that letting go is, I know, will ultimately be whatever it takes to be the final letting go. So be grateful. Thanks for your input there.
Thank you.
Let's see, where are we? I wanted to close with a metta here. So if you could just take a moment to, just to feel into your body and feel into your heart. This letting go part is, it has to, in some ways, be practiced over and over again. But there's also, where are you aiming? And so right now I'm asking you to aim to your heart. How do you aim to your heart? Well, just to feel into the chest and to feel the center there of this. And note that there is also then, it is a body kind of feeling we're talking about, but it also then helps us soften the mind, soften the emotions, in the sense that you can bring a sense of that awareness into a sense of openness and kindness and generosity and fearlessness and empathy and compassion for beings. You know, we are beings that are all destined, unfortunately, to, if we're lucky, to, you know, old age, illness, and eventually death. And there is something very wondrous about the fact that that's true. You know, you can put it on a fear base, or you can put it on a, you know, relief and release. And also that there is always someone right behind you, you know, that life and death works that way. And that one thing dies and another thing takes its place. And it's nature, it's the way it is, you know. So I want to just extend this sense first to all of you on Zoom and all of you in the room, and that you may breathe in this loving kindness, this empathy, this compassion, this really, I like the words sympathetic joy, and hold it in a state of equanimity for the benefit of yourself and all those you come in contact with. May beings everywhere be free from suffering. May beings everywhere experience and practice generosity for themselves and those around them. And may beings everywhere, known and unknown to us, experience the nature of freedom for their benefit and the benefit of all, so that beings everywhere may ultimately be free of their conditioning. And again, if there's any merit that is created through our work together, that it is ultimately for the benefit of those seen and unseen beings that are in need of our openness and generosity, so that all can live on in a sense of freedom. Ho mitakwasi. May all
John,
beings.
thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Great. Sharon just rang the bell. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jen Scott. I want to thank everyone here tonight, both in the room